All right. Should be good to go. All right. Am I in frame?
You are. Your hat's out of the frame. Yep.
You can hold it if you want. You
What?
want to hold it? Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another stream here at Cincinnati Zoo. Today, I'm joined by a few friends from our animal ambassador team. We're going to be showing you Rico the Porcupine. So we'll do that today. We're going to do a little training session. I just want to double check, make sure I'm getting audio. I am getting audio. Cool. All right. So again, this is a new project here that we're starting here at the zoo. So we are working through all of our problems. That includes tech, which is why we have not been live lately, but we are back. Hopefully everything goes smoothly today. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for everybody that has followed. Thank you for everybody that has subscribed. We're going to continue to grow as you guys continue to help us grow by supporting us. All right. So I'll come around. I'll take that camera. You guys can meet our friends here.
I'm going to go around the back.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we should.
Yeah?
Yeah. All right. So if you guys want to go ahead, start by introducing yourselves, what you guys do.
Okay, I'm Hillary. This is Cassie. We are both animal ambassador keepers here at the Cincinnati Zoo. We have a ton of different species on our ambassador team. It spreads across 4 different buildings. We do summer camp programs. We have a wild encounters and education sister teams that take out some of our ambassador animals. We do a ton of random animal encounters about the zoo, lots of different things that our ambassadors do here, and training is a really big part of our department. So we have Rico out here today with us. We can go ahead and let him out. Now, Rico is a Brazilian prehensile-tailed porcupine, and he is one of the most famous animals here at the zoo. His claim to fame is the second most famous. We actually have a Rico
emote. If you're a subscriber, you can drop the Rico emote in chat.
Oh my gosh. Well, behind Fiona, we say that Rico is the second most famous animal here at the Cincinnati Zoo. Like I said, he is a Brazilian prehensile-tailed porcupine. He is 9 years old, and he was actually born at the Cleveland Zoo, but he was transported here to the Cincinnati Zoo when he was only a couple months old. So he's
still an Ohio native.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, sure. If technically speaking, absolutely. Yeah, he's an Ohio native from Cleveland, moved down here to Cincinnati. So he's pretty much been with us his whole entire life. So he lives in the Animal Ambassador Center at the Cincinnati Zoo, which is right next to our Children's Zoo department. He is a nocturnal animal, so he sleeps most of the day away, which is exactly what we want. But he is most of the time sleeping in the back of his log in his home. So we try to get him out and about. We are currently in a building that we call Clubhouse. It's right next to our train station. We like to get him out and about to do different types of random animal encounters so that people can see him while he's awake. Because like I said, he's nocturnal, so we do want him to be sleeping most of the day. It's normal, natural behaviors for him. But we also want people to be able to see his cute, boopable face. He's got that really big nose on him, so his best sense is his sense of smell. He leads with his nose. Since he is nocturnal, he doesn't have super great eyesight. You can see his teeny tiny pupils, but he definitely uses his nose the most to navigate his surroundings. He's also got a ton of whiskers on his face, and he's got them lining the bottom of his body as well. And that's because oftentimes he's navigating in the dark, and that just helps him sense his surroundings.
I actually didn't know they had whiskers underneath there.
Yeah, so you can kind of see them.
Yeah.
Especially along like his arms right here. So one of the most obvious things about Rico are his quills.
Yes.
So he has quills pretty much all over his body except for little parts on his face and on the bottom of his feet and hands. He's got some quills even around his ears, although he does have some little places on his ears that don't have quills. He has a type of quill on his stomach, but they're not as sharp as the rest of his body, so that is definitely the most vulnerable place on his body. we can see if we can get him to do one of his behaviors that he does, which is just standing up on his 2 hind feet so that he can show off his stomach a little bit. So as you guys can see, those quills do not look the same as the quills on his back. So like I said earlier, that is the most vulnerable place on his body except for his face. So oftentimes whenever he feels threatened, he will puff up his quills to make him look really big and scary. It is actually a myth that porcupines are able to shoot their quills. They're actually not able to do that. So they'll just get really big and puffy to make them look really big and scary, and then they will actually back into whatever animal is threatening them to get those quills into the flesh.
And then do they come off, right, pretty easily?
Yeah, they do come off pretty easily.
And do you find them, like, daily?
We find them daily, for sure. So Rico, he goes through a shed or a molt every couple months, just like with seasonality, mammals lose fur or birds go through molting with their feathers. So he actually just finished going through a molt. So he will drop a ton of quills. It's never enough in a certain area that you will see like bulb patches anywhere. They grow in pretty quickly. But with his quills as well, there are some species of porcupines that have barbed quills. He does not have barbed quills. So even though they are super pointy and sharp at the end, they don't have those barbs that basically like really stick and get stuck into an animal's flesh. With his quills as well, you can see that they're primarily black and white, but they also have a little bit of a yellow distinct color near the base of his body. And so Rico does not bathe in water. He doesn't really dust bathe either, which is what like a lot of like African savanna animals do that don't have a ton of access to water. So this yellow that you can see is actually an oil that his body secretes that helps to keep him clean. Ironically, even though it is a musk that really is very potent and it doesn't smell the best, but it helps to keep him clean. So that oil is just the yellow that is on the base of his quills. And if he happens to drop a quill around here, I think he might have... You said it's in his crate?
I'm sure there's one in there.
Looks like we have one right here, too. He's dropping quills all the time. This one's a little bent, but you can see kind of the yellow coloration, and then it is like pretty sharp. So, pretty cool. And they're all different lengths all over his body. So on his face, they're a little bit shorter. On his torso, they're a little bit longer. And like I said, they're pretty sharp. You definitely don't want to accidentally get poked by one of them.
No.
So he's also got a prehensile tail. You can see right now that he's utilizing it to wrap around a branch. So he basically uses that just as another limb to help him climb. They're a super arboreal species, which means that they are found primarily in trees. He does come down to the ground sometimes, but he definitely feels safest, and it is his natural instinct to climb and be all up in the trees. And out in the wild, that's where they find most of their food. So here at the zoo, we feed him something called rodent block, which they're actually considered rodents. I don't know if you can get a close-up on his teeth, but he's got those really long orange ever-growing incisors. But we also just feed him different greens and produce. However, out in the wild, they're primarily eating, browse, bark, any herbivorous things they can find.
G-Money123, thanks for the sub, and thanks for the gift sub.
So yeah, Rico's
There
a
he
really
is.
cool guy.
There he is. There's the, you see him? He's like psychedelic.
Oh, that is so cool. Is that the little emote, whatever it is? Very cool.
Do you guys want to talk about what training looks like, what behaviors you're trying to train for, how those behaviors are then used, and what does a day-to-day kind of training session kind of look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So Rico's primary focus right now, training-wise, is we really want to get him out into spaces where he can be seen for random animal encounters. He is a very sensitive guy when it comes to his surroundings. So We really try to focus on desensitizing him to lots of different noises, people coming and going. The train, which I mentioned the train station being right next to here earlier, is a noise that doesn't always make him the most comfortable. So just getting him into primarily this space clubhouse where we can set him up just like he is right now, open the doors and let people kind of filter through. That's his main training objective right now. So just, like I said, desensitizing him to lots of different sounds, noises, people. We really want to make sure that he is comfortable with all of those things, and we want to make sure that people are able to see him. So that is the best way to make everybody happy. But in terms of training, Rico knows a few behaviors. So standing on his hind legs, like Cassie's asking for now, is one of his behaviors.
Not a natural behavior normally.
So they are pretty good with like their hands and reaching, especially whenever they're using their prehensile tail to latch onto a tree branch to maybe reach out and grab some browse. So it could be something that they do naturally out in the wild for sure. He also knows a little wave behavior, which he did earlier. He knows a spin behavior, which he does a lot better in his home. He has to have a really, really wide berth of space in order to feel 100% comfortable doing it, but it's just him walking around in a circle. He also is crate trained, which a lot of our behaviors that we do with our ambassador animals, you wouldn't think as behaviors because they're more so husbandry behaviors, which essentially means that they are helping our animals either participate in medical behaviors, traveling behaviors. So a lot of times people seeing Rico get into a crate, they wouldn't think that that's necessarily a trained behavior. However, everything that we do with our ambassador animals, we want to be as voluntary as possible. Do you need more snacks? No. Okay. So even something like crating is definitely a behavior that Rico does. He also is target trained to a couple of different things. So as he's been navigating this tree structure, Cassie has been either pointing and tapping wherever she wants him to go. And he also has a physical target, which is basically just a ball on the end of a stick. And he goes to that ball as well. And whenever he touches it with his nose, we reinforce him. So the snacks that he gets today and every day whenever we do training with him, he loves popcorn. However, he doesn't love popcorn whenever he is training outside of his home. So we literally have a whole bucket of popcorn over here that we bring just in case, but he never wants it. He loves it in his house. It's his favorite snack. He loves corn as well, which makes sense if you think about corn and popcorn. But otherwise, we give him banana chips. He loves a mixture of different nuts. We also give him dried fruit as well. And these are all reinforcements that we use only for training. We don't offer them at any other point throughout the day. Like I mentioned, his diet earlier is a mixture of rodent block, produce, greens. So these are special things that
all very detailed and well planned out.
Yeah, these are all very special things that he only gets whenever he is out training. And this setup that we have right here, minus the big tree that he is on, is the setup that he uses whenever we go out on smaller programs. So, for instance, we have summer camp programs that we did this past summer. We have Zoo Troop, pretty much any of our education-based programs that Rico goes out on, he will go out and do some training as well. He also is trained to, if I offer him something, which I don't really have anything to offer him right now.
He's grabbing popcorn right now in the cup.
Well, yeah, he's basically showing how good he is with his hands. For instance, he paints in his free time, So if I offer him a paintbrush and I put the canvas in front of him, even though I have to wiggle the canvas around a little bit to actually get the art, he's really good at taking and dropping things. We're eventually going to turn it into a recycling behavior. He just has such small hands that I haven't really figured out what recyclables to give him for him to drop in a recycling can.
Very
but we're
small
gonna
water
get there.
bottles.
Yeah, very small created water bottles.
Just for you. I don't have anything for you. That might.
But Rico, he goes out and about in the zoo for training sessions about 1 to 2 times a week. Oftentimes, whenever we're doing training sessions with him, we are doing it in his home, and that usually tends to be around 2 to 4 o'clock. So if you're super lucky, if you're at the zoo and you're able to pop by, it's not a guarantee, but a lot of times we are working training sessions with him around that time. And it'll be nice and fun to be able to see him in his home as well.
We had a question. Do his nails easily scratch, or is it mainly used for digging and not gripping?
That's a great question. So his really long nails help him to dig and grip, and they kind of file themselves down. We never have to do any nail trims with him. He has a ton of different textured perching in his home, so he really just uses them to forage, to climb as well, any of the trees or perches in his home. But yeah, that's a great question. They just kind of
So
take
what
care
is
of
your guys'
themselves,
favorite
luckily.
thing about working with Rico?
The lovely smell we get afterwards.
Yeah, he has a very potent smell, like I mentioned before, and oftentimes you go home and you carry the smell of Rico for the rest of your day.
Never forget.
I think my favorite thing about working with Rico is how many people know him and love him, and being able to have the opportunity to do training sessions and work with him and just give people the experience of seeing him up and working. I couldn't tell you the amount of times that even just walking around the zoo, you hear people talking about Rico. So it's a really cool thing to be able to work with him and give people those experiences and talk about him because, I mean, just look at him. He's like the cutest thing ever. But it's really cool to be able to see the pure joy on people's faces whenever they see him up and about or out in clubhouse. And he's a really cool guy, even though he's a little stinky, but we look past that.
I think it's also cool that he is kind of one of the only species in our collection that actually does their true nocturnal behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the few that actually will sleep throughout the day and will be awake when we first come in. So I think that's really neat to see that yes, it takes him a lot to wake up during the day to train with us, but he will. But it's cool to see when he is most active, that it is at night, or it's right in the morning when we get here.
Yeah, we have a really awesome animal excellence team, and they actually just finished up a 2-week study of monitoring Rico's 24-hour behavior for 2 weeks. And like Cassie just mentioned, he is truly a nocturnal animal, so that's really awesome to see that he's living out those cycles as his native counterparts are out in the wild, even though sometimes we wake him up in the middle of the afternoon for a little training session. It doesn't seem to impact his welfare and well-being. He's incredibly healthy. He's just a nocturnal guy living in a big old world. Good job, buddy. How long has it been? Has it been like 15 minutes? Are you killing it, Rico?
So our porcupines, we have a question. Are they solo in nature?
That's a
Or do
great
they
question.
live in a group?
So actually, there's not like a ton of research in general about Brazilian prehensile-tailed porcupines out in the wild. What we do know is that they tend to be solitary creatures, but I think they might be indifferent also. Like, they definitely come together for breeding purposes, but other than that, they're pretty solitary or indifferent. And like I said, there's not a ton of field studies on Brazilian prehensile-tailed porcupines, so the little information that we do know suggests that they're pretty solitary. Unfortunately, it would be pretty cute to see just a big old gaggle of porcupines. He does look pretty funny whenever he's walking on all fours. His feet are kind of curved in a way that he's really great of balancing and walking on perches, but whenever he's walking on flat land, it just looks silly. He's a silly dude. Good job, buddy. So him being able to sit on this perch right now and totally just take reinforcements and chill while this train noise is just going by is really awesome. He does frequent this place, so it's not something that he's not used to, but just seeing him so calm with his quills lowered, he's eating, his body language is just totally chill. This is definitely what we're looking for with him. And
Everybody wave to the train.
his programs tend to be about 15 to 20 minutes long, and we definitely want to always end our programs on a positive note with him, just so he feels the love and wants to come back out the next time that we ask him to. So a lot of times whenever he is behaving like this, we love it, and if it's about like the time frame where we're ready to go and he creates himself, then we'll usually just call it at that, because like I said, we always want to end these experiences positively so that he can come out and hang out in the clubhouse again and be able to see people. Good job, buddy. And another behavior that we've been working on, which I talked about creating, but just the fact that if there's ever something that's super scary or makes him nervous in his environment, to just run back to his crate. That is a huge win that we've definitely been working on with him. He is able to like climb down from these platforms and from this table to the ground, which is not necessarily something that we want. And a lot of times in the past, if he's been super nervous and doesn't really know what to do, he starts to scramble and pace and get a little uncomfortable, and that can oftentimes lead to him going to the ground. But for him to just go right back into his crate, showing us that that's his safe space, that he feels comfortable there, that is a huge programming behavioral win for us as well. So unless you have any more questions, we're just going to
I want to end by like asking you guys if you just want to talk a little bit about the Animal Ambassador program as a whole. I mean, you guys take care of like a lot of different animals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Many of which hopefully we will see on stream in the future. We're going to try to highlight them as much as we can.
Yeah.
But like, what is your guys' like favorite part about coming in for the day?
Favorite part about coming into work?
Or just like, what do you like generally, you know, about the Animal Ambassador team? Out of any like other team that you could maybe like choose, or any animals, this maybe brings like more of a variety.
Yeah.
It's definitely the variety. I mean, like you mentioned, we have a ton of different species, a ton of different animals, and literally every day is different. Training-wise, with a bunch of different animals, every day is different. We've always got different programs going on.
Yeah, the education and conservation.
Yeah,
impacts.
absolutely. And it's just a really good mix of being able to get your hands dirty and work with the animals. We do a ton of cleaning, husbandry stuff, but we also get the side of being able to take these animals out and talk to people about them, being able to talk about conservation, being able to talk about an individual animal, but why they matter as a whole. It's just a really good mix of everything, and we have a ton of animals that just offer so much training-wise. I mean, there's a ton of different IQ levels when it comes to Rico versus a snake or an armadillo. Or a macaw. There's just so many different things, and it's truly different every day, and it keeps us on our toes, and I feel like I'm learning something new every day, which is super awesome.
Cool. Well, thanks for hanging out today.
Of course. Thanks for
Maybe
having
we'll
us.
see you back on stream.
I'm sure we'll be back on the stream.
All right. Well, today's going to be a shorter stream, guys. We're going to end here. Thank you guys for joining, as always. Make sure you check out our schedule to see when we're going live next, and check out all of our panels so you can check out anything Cincinnati Zoo related. Check out the website. We have a bunch of links down below. Check out our panels. You can always see what kind of news is happening around the zoo. So, here you go. Film Rico for 2 seconds. All right. Goodbye, chat.